It's a great day. It's nice to be here with you, peeps, and it's really, really nice. Today I'm going to be talking about something very, very, very important, something that is growing really rampant now in Nigeria, and that is depression, suicide, especially among the young ones and among religious people, So I'm going to be talking about the subconscious causes of depression. Most times we look at whether people have some mental disorder, some mental problems. We categorize it to all of this, and you know it's we won't get to the root of this, and we might never get a holistic solution if we are not considering all angles, and if we are not really considering looking at the fundamental causes which could arise from some systems, and which is why I'm talking about this today, the subconscious causes of depression. Now, how can one explain the rampant trend of depression among religious people? You know, how can you explain someone just coming back from church or a temple, you know, committing suicide straight away? From my own personal experience, while growing up, I used to experience depression a lot. Being raised in a very, 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 very serious Christian family ain't easy. The never ending prayer and fasting, vigils, endless repentance from not being able to stop sinning, plus many, many others drove me nuts. You know, there are these two biblical scriptures that almost drove me to madness as well. One is the story we all are familiar with, the story of Esau and Jacob. Where the biblical God actually says that Jacob I love, Esau I hate, even before they were born. Another is where the biblical God also says, I will show mercy, or I will have mercy on whom I will, while the rest can go to hell. You know, Amongst others, these two particular scriptures kept tearing me apart. It kept tearing me apart secretly, as I couldn't relate it to the unconditional nature of a true loving God. You know, Growing up was quite a challenge at some point. While we resorted to religion very crazily, in all of this, nothing quite significant happened, and those years of mine was close and close and close to suicide. Because my conclusion was, well, maybe God hated me like he hated Esau, and maybe I'm among those he will never show mercy. Since all prayers, fasting, fighting, and services to him wasn't working and wasn't doing anything. I almost took to suicide since nothing was making sense at all. What is the essence if God ain't loving me, and if I'm not predestined, or predestined to be among the called or the elect, just like we have it in the narrative of the Bible. And now, it was such a terrible period for me, which turned out to be the greatest learning curve of my life. That terrible period of my life eventually turned out to be the greatest learning curve of my life. Now, this same thing has caused depression for so many, and had made so many resorted to suicide to end it all. Since the God they are hoping on is doing nothing, it's so easy to rationalize their case as just another case of Esau, and another case of no mercy. Religious doctrines and teachings is a sad trap for humanity. Trap of sadness, trap of depression, guilt, fear, ignorance. Now, I know that there is no such God with a nature that There's no such God with a nature that contradicts unconditional love. I have come to the conclusion that perhaps religions worship a different God. That is by nature conditional love. A God that loves some and hates some, even before they were born. A God that elects some and rejects the rest. An unjust and partial God. A God that shows mercy on some and leave the rest without mercy. To end all this mental chaos and madness and depression, we need to start putting things into proper perspectives. We need to start thinking for ourselves and stop being controlled with sin, fear, and guilt by those who know nothing but claiming to be God-men. We need to understand that there's nothing like God-men, and that only you is a divine entity, and that you are a God. And if you trade that by making yourself a slave, that's your choice. And it's not a bad one either. It's time to take control of your inner atmosphere and direct it consciously the way you want. It's time to start looking within and not without. It's time to start depending on your inner spirit rather than the external novices around you who doesn't even know themselves, let alone knowing someone else. It's time you understand your own true nature, which is God's nature. It's time to obliterate and transcend the limitations of your mind. Because as long as your mind is in church, no one will save you. Time to be your real and divine self. Time to end depression and enter into the joyful, blissful, serene, and ecstatic nature of your divine self. You have it all. You are created to be ecstatic, to be joyful. That's our real original nature. But not until all the psychological, social processes, belief system, doctrines, and all of that, all the impressions robbed us of this. And ever since then, we've been in turmoil, in misery, in all of this, which are deeply rooted in our subconscious, giving birth to depression and ultimately suicide. I challenge us today to go back and start looking inward, to be our God self, and our nation, the continent, and the whole world at large can be a better place and have better human beings. Thank you. I hope you go through this and you learn one or two things from it. You can always follow me up on my